January 9th, 2022, North Korea goes dark. Every government website blinks offline simultaneously. International observers are baffled. Security analysts scramble for explanations. Was this retaliation for Kim Jong-un's latest missile provocations? The prevailing theory, a sophisticated state-sponsored cyber attack, probably orchestrated by a rival intelligence agency. The truth was far stranger. Behind the blackout sat one person, working alone from home, wearing pajamas. The attack that started it. 1 year earlier, January 2021, an American cybersecurity researcher, known only by his online handle, P4X, was doing routine work when he received an intriguing message. Another researcher was offering a new hacking tool. Always curious about novel exploits, P4X downloaded the file, but took a precaution that would save him. He opened it inside a secure virtual machine, an isolated digital sandbox. Nothing seemed to happen. Within 24 hours, Google dropped a warning that sent shockwaves through the security community. North Korean state hackers were actively targeting Western cybersecurity researchers, sending them weaponized files disguised as legitimate tools. P4X's blood ran cold. He examined the file he'd received more carefully. Hidden inside was a backdoor, malicious code designed to give attackers complete access to his system. He'd been personally targeted by a foreign intelligence operation. P4X felt violated. This wasn't some random cyber criminal looking for credit card numbers. This was Pyongyang's cyber army hunting him specifically, trying to steal his research and hacking tools. He soon learned he wasn't alone. North Korea had launched a broad campaign targeting researchers like him, essentially hunting the hunters to steal their expertise. He waited for the cavalry. Surely the US government would treat an attack by foreign spies on an American citizen as serious business. An FBI agent did contact him once. They took his statement, asked some questions, and then nothing. No follow-up. No assistance securing his systems, no indication that anyone would hold the perpetrators accountable. Weeks became months. Silence. P4X felt abandoned. There's really nobody on our side, he thought bitterly. A hostile nation had attacked him in his own home, and the response was essentially a shrug. That's when something shifted. North Korea had struck at him in secret and gotten away with it. P4X wasn't the forgiving type. If no one else would respond, maybe he would. The idea seemed absurd at first. A one-man counterattack against one of the world's most isolated and paranoid regimes? But the more he considered it, the more it felt not just possible, but necessary. By late 2021, his mind was made up. He would strike back at North Korea himself. Reconnaissance P4X began his preparation methodically, adopting the mindset of an intelligence operative. His target: North Korea's fragile presence on the global internet. What he discovered surprised even him. North Korea's internet infrastructure was shockingly small and vulnerable. The entire country's external internet presence consisted of just a few networks and dozens of websites. It was a digital house of cards held together by outdated software and neglected security. To someone with P4X's skills, it was full of unlocked doors. Night after night, he probed North Korea's systems from afar, testing their defenses, mapping their vulnerabilities. What he found was almost comical. The regime's servers were riddled with known security flaws that administrators had never bothered to patch. Old versions of Apache web server software, outdated Nginx configurations with bugs that could crash the entire system if you sent them malformed data. It's pretty interesting how easy it was to actually have some effect in there, he later reflected. The more he explored, the more confident he became. This was doable. North Korea had left its digital gates wide open. P4X began writing custom scripts to automate his attack. If one person was going to take on an entire country, automation was essential. His code would scan North Korean servers, identify which ones were online, then hit them with exploits designed to overload or crash them. It was a sophisticated denial-of-service operation, like a digital guerrilla war. He knew the risks. What he was planning was illegal under US law, regardless of the target. If caught, he could face serious criminal charges. And if North Korea identified him, he could become a target for retaliation from a regime that had demonstrated it would kidnap and assassinate people overseas. So, P4X took precautions. He chose his handle carefully. P4X, pronounced Pax, the Latin word for peace. A cheeky nod to enforcing peace through punishment. Behind this pseudonym, he could strike from the shadows. No real name, no face, just a faceless hacker delivering payback. The attack, early January 2022. P4X sat at his computer, likely in his usual uniform of t-shirt and pajama pants. This ordinary-looking guy was about to attempt something extraordinary, taking down a country's internet infrastructure. He double-checked everything. The code was loaded on his laptop and some rented cloud servers to distribute the attack. The targets were lined up. His heart pounded with a mixture of adrenaline and defiance. After a deep breath, he executed the command. With a few keystrokes, thousands of packets began flooding toward North Korea. The code was running, but would it actually work? At first, it felt anticlimactic, just code running on a screen. No explosions, no dramatic visual confirmation. P4X queued up an alien movie on his TV, trying to act normal, munching on spicy corn chips. But every few minutes, he paused the movie and shuffled to his home office to check the progress. Each time, the news got better. One by one, North Korean servers stopped responding. He pinged the country's handful of websites. Air Koryo's booking site, down. Nenara, the regime's official web portal, down. The state news site, down. He refreshed again and again, nothing but timeouts. Across the world, anyone trying to access North Korean websites was seeing error messages. Inside the secretive nation, officials suddenly found their external email and web access severed. North Korea had been knocked offline. P4X still couldn't quite believe it. He checked Pingdom, an independent service that monitors website uptime. The charts for North Korean web domains showed a sea of red, outages everywhere. Meanwhile, a veteran cybersecurity researcher who monitored North Korean internet traffic observed massive, mysterious waves of attacks taking down entire networks. He was baffled, having no idea who was behind them. P4X grinned. It was working, and nobody had a clue. Hour after hour, the cyber onslaught continued. P4X's scripts relentlessly bombarded vulnerable servers until they crashed, then moved on to the next target. North Korea's few connections to the outside internet were overloaded, its routers paralyzed. By the time he finally stopped for the night, practically every North Korean website was down. An entire nation's online presence had been felled by a lone hacker at his keyboard. Before heading to bed, P4X took a moment to absorb what he'd accomplished. It was a strange mix of triumph and disbelief. He had proven that even a fortress regime could bleed in cyberspace. The mystery deepens. The next morning, news of North Korea's internet outage quietly spread among analysts and intelligence communities. Speculation ran rampant. Was this US Cyber Command? A retaliatory strike by South Korean intelligence? The timing seemed significant. North Korea had conducted a flurry of missile tests just days before. Many assumed this was a punitive cyber operation by a world power, a secret message telling Pyongyang to back off. North Korea's government remained predictably silent. There was no public admission that anything was wrong. Inside the country, almost no ordinary citizens even realized the internet was down. Fewer than 1% of North Koreans have access to the global internet anyway. The outages mainly affected the regime's external propaganda websites and email servers, embarrassing the leadership but not disrupting daily life. Abroad, however, the outage was major news among North Korea watchers. For days, nearly all of the country's websites remained unreachable. Tech forums and Twitter lit up with speculation. When some sites briefly came back online, they soon crashed again, as if someone was toying with the regime, flipping the switch on and off. Yet no government claimed responsibility. No one stepped forward. The mystery only deepened.
commits outrageous cyber attacks and human rights abuses with impunity. Someone had to push back. His message wasn't just for North Korea, it was also for his own government. By going rogue, he hoped to shame US authorities into recognizing the threat and protecting individuals like him in the future. When asked about his endgame, P4X chuckled. Regime change? No, I'm just kidding. He insisted he wasn't trying to topple governments, just to prove a point, and he'd keep hammering North Korea's networks until that point was unmistakably made. The aftermath. So far, no law enforcement has knocked on P4X's door. North Korea hasn't publicly identified him. The first shots of this one-man cyber war have been fired, and P4X remains unpunished, unidentified, and unbowed. His operation raises profound questions about the nature of conflict in the digital age. On individual power, one skilled person with consumer-grade equipment can now impact an entire nation in ways previously reserved for governments. Cyber capabilities have democratized both defense and offense in unprecedented ways. On legal gray zones, P4X almost certainly violated federal hacking laws, yet his target was a hostile foreign power that had attacked him first. How should democracies handle citizen self-defense in cyberspace? On government responsibility, when a foreign state attacks a private citizen and the government's response is inadequate, what recourse does that citizen have? P4X's frustration reflects a broader gap in how nations protect their people online. On escalation risks, while P4X's actions were relatively contained, vigilante cyber operations could interfere with legitimate intelligence work or provoke dangerous retaliation against innocent third parties. The story continues to unfold in the shadows. North Korea's regime is left looking over its shoulder, wondering who struck them and whether they'll strike again. The rest of the world is left wondering whether P4X represents a new model of citizen activism or a dangerous precedent that could spiral out of control. One thing is certain: a lone hacker in pajamas proved that even the most isolated fortress can be breached, not by armies or intelligence agencies, but by one angry person with a laptop and enough determination to push back. The Hermit Kingdom learned a hard lesson. In cyberspace, David can still take down Goliath.